Throughout Algebra 1, you've probably encountered many linear equations similar to the first form we see in purple. You simply have one variable, and you isolate it by moving our constant to the other side. The next problem you encounter is probably where you have a term containing x on the left and a term containing x on the right. You'll have to combine like terms to solve for x. The third scenario you encountered in solving linear equations is if you'd have to distribute first. After you distribute, the form will look similar to number 2. So you have to distribute and then combine like terms. Now, what if you have a linear equation with fractions, which you'll see in Algebra 2? Well, this involves multiplying by the LCD. Then we distribute and combine like terms. So there's just one additional step at the beginning. So what is the least common denominator? Well, it's the least common multiple of the list of denominators. And it's the smallest number possible that is divisible by each denominator. For example, what if I multiplied the first term by 28 out in front, and then the second term I multiplied by 28 and the third term? Now, this could simplify my fractions into whole numbers. So, for example, 28 over 4 gives me 7. So I could write this as 7 times n minus 3. 28 is divisible by 7 to give me 4. So I can write this as 4 times n plus 5. And finally, I can cancel my last fraction because 28 divided by 14 gives me 2. And then I multiply that by 5. So this is the purpose of finding the least common denominator. It allows me to find a number that's divisible by each denominator. Therefore, I'm multiplying each term by a whole number. I no longer have fractions. So let's try this out. Perfect. So now let me list my common multiples. So the multiples of 4 would be 4, 8, 12, 16. Let's see. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. Okay, that should be enough. Let me just see. 7 times 1 gives me 7. 7 times 2, 7 times 3, 7 times 4. Ah, look at this. Once I list my multiples, this is the least one in common that occurs first. Finally, 14 times 1 and 14 times 2 is 28. That means that 28 is the smallest number in common to all three that's divisible by all three. Let me erase this. So as we saw, you're going to multiply both sides, or in other words, multiply the entire equation by 28. Again, this gives 28 divided by 4. Okay, so that gives 7 times n minus 3. Then we do 28 divided by 7. It gives me 4 times n plus 5. Now you could do 5 or 28 times 5 divided by 14. You could do that in your calculator, but it's easier to do 28 divided by 14 because you know that's 2 times 5. So now we distribute and combine like terms. Now this equation here looks similar in form to the third equation I showed in the beginning, right? So this gives, yeah, distribute here. That's 7n minus 21, 4n plus 20 equals to 10. So we distribute, combine like terms. We get 11n. Negative 21 plus 20 is negative 1. Add 1 to both sides. 11n equals 11. So n is equal to 1. Okay, let's do a second example. Here's the next problem. So let's find the least common multiple of the denominators, or in other words, the least common denominator. I list my multiples of each number. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and so on. Okay, that might be enough. Let me list my multiples of 5. 5 times 1, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, when I compare my two lists, I never encountered a number in common yet. Let me keep going. Let me try using the 6. 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4 is 24, 6 times 5 is 30. Ah, there we go. That's a number in common. And we know when we list all multiples of 2, we'll eventually reach 30. I'm just going to write out the whole list though. 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. So the smallest number in common, or that each number is divisible by, would be 30. So I multiply this by 30. So this becomes 30 over 5 gives me 6 times 4x plus 1 minus 30 over 2 is 15 times 9 minus x equals 30 over 6 is 5. Good. So remember, I'm multiplying that 30 to the numerator. A lot of people ask, well, could I distribute my 30 to my 4x plus 1? You could do that, but it's just going to be longer and more complicated. So anyways, distribute. This gives 24x plus 6 minus 15 times 9 is 135. And then I have plus 15x equals negative 5. Combine like terms. I have a positive 6 and a negative 135. This gives 39x minus 129 equals to negative 5. Add 129 to both sides, you get 39x equals 124. So x is 124 over 39. I don't think you can simplify that. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, last problem. I have a 4, a 12, and a 24. Okay, notice right off the bat, you can clearly see that 24 is divisible by both 12 and 4. So you know the LCD is going to be 24. But just for notes purposes, it's good to show the work and prove it. So multiples of 4 would be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Multiples of 12 would be 12, 24. 24 times 1 is 24. Perfect. So 24 divided by 4 gives us 6 times 3b plus 7. 24 over 24 is 1. 2b plus 5 equals 24 over 12, which is 2. Perfect. Distribute. I get 18b plus 42. And I still have my 2b plus 5 equals 2. Combine like terms. And then we get 20b wait, let me make sure. Let me go step by step. So it's going to be 20b plus 47 equals to 2. So 20b is negative 45. So b is negative 45 over 20. Let's see, can we simplify that? Both the numerator and the denominator are divisible by 5. So that leaves us with, let me change colors, negative 9 over 4. Good. And of course, so yeah, notice how that works out. Of course, 4, 24, 12, those are all divisible by some number. For example, if I multiplied them all together, a 4 times a 24 times a 12, I'm going to get a number that's divisible by all of those numbers because they're the factors. So yeah, that would be a number that would work to eliminate each fraction, but it's not going to be the least common multiple, right? It's just going to be some big number. So you'll get the right answer, but you're going to be working with bigger numbers. So again, if you're really confused, you could find a number that's divisible by all these by multiplying them together, but it's best to find the least common denominator.